warriors, dumpster fire burns wild. Chaos shenanigans at every corner. Sarcasm, a holy sermon in style. Dark chocolate, melted chaos warmer. Fighting this timeline with snark. Every soul welcome, but no recorders. Baptized by laughter in the dark. We stand tall, scorning fake orders. In the church of glory rise, with chaos and shenanigans bright. Chocolate and sarcasm are rise. Together we light up the night.
I love that the outro on that is so long because I was just so damn proud of myself for animating the little chocolate bar. This pure ego. I was just so proud of my Neo powers.
It's like I just watched the chocolate bar. It looks so good. So special.
So
Awesome.
we have Kohberger tonight, and I was able to pull a couple of different things. So the prosecution has released this kind of 3D graphic or actual model of the house because I know we were kind of confused as to how the whole house was put together.
Right.
So I figured we'd kind of start with that this evening since I was kind of questioning if he had, how many times he had to go past
Out.
different people
Right.
to get to these upper rooms. Because it seemed like the two roommates that survived were on the lower floors and he purposely went up to these upper levels.
Right. And that did sort of make me wonder, like how all that could have worked out.
Well, yeah, that and just, I mean, we have found out, oh God, Kohberger and Dorkbell together.
Well, you know, someone's going to be the top, someone's going to be the bottom.
I think they're both the little spoon, though. Can they both be the little spoon?
Probably. You know, maybe they're part of you know, the givers, you know. Or how is it, takers? They're catchers? Yeah, they're catchers.
Catchers?
Yeah. They just look lovingly into each other's eyes whenever it happens.
They are their twin flames throughout the universe. Their souls cried out.
Oh, God, yes.
And ours did too, mostly because, ew.
Ugh.
So we can kind of see, and I didn't realize how big the upper balcony was. I mean,
Yeah.
for all the talk of this being a party house, it's actually a lot nicer than what I thought it was going to
Okay,
be.
pause a second. So it comes up the stairs. I would go back it up just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Let me, come on. No, you stupid whore. Why aren't you doing what I tell you to? I owned you. Sorry, as I yell at my
No, that's
computer.
fine. I'm looking as, okay, pause right there. Okay, that makes sense. So there's the stairs that go up. And
Okay.
and so were all of them up on the third floor?
Well, so it was the third or the second and third floor, I thought.
Okay, so he went up the stairs and there it looks like in the bottom corner, not the bottom corner, but right above the O, that's the door that goes into that bedroom. And that
Yeah.
must be like maybe a laundry room or something. I don't know. But you can see where the stairs come directly up. And I guess
Yeah.
is there bedrooms underneath that? And that's what that little hallway is. Like if you go where your
Yeah,
arrow
see,
is. And so take
right
your arrow.
here.
Right. That's just an open space for
Yeah.
whenever you're coming up the stairs.
Well, so Squid Pro Quo, they didn't label things. I was looking to see if this model had labels on it, and I didn't find it yet, so this is basically the graphic that's been all over the place that I could see today.
Well, and if it was the second floor, then it would have been that first room, like where this new developments thing is covering. The murders happen about that area. And then
Yeah.
if you go to where about where the O is and go straight up, you'll see what looks like a hallway or a doorway or something
Yeah, so I don't know if there were more rooms in this because it looks almost
on the
like there
second
would
floor.
be this room down here that's going to be cat a corner from the balcony, and then it almost looks like there's room for an additional room or two rooms where that addition was built on top of.
Right. Yeah, that's why I'm looking at them just like, but it's hard to tell because it almost looks like that's the first floor.
It
Because
does.
look at the outside. You've got like that window that lines up almost perfectly with it.
Yeah.
Somebody did shitty 3D rendering. That's what I'm thinking.
To
All
be
right.
fair, look, it was my first time using a CAD model, and I was just proud of myself. So this animation is going to go on for 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Hit play. We'll see.
Okay, so it is 3 stories. Oh,
That maybe.
oh, ma'am. Don't.
Damn.
Okay, women of a certain age, when you put dark eyeliner, black eyeliner on the bottom of your eyes, it is simply going to fall down and settle into your under eye bags.
Yeah.
So don't do that.
No. No. Makeup tips from Mo.
And where we are in the documents, we're going to start kind of going into a lot of the tips that started pulling in. So this first tip is going to be coming in, and it's actually coming in from a woman's center, sort of, I'm guessing, a DV center.
Okay.
And this is going to be just officers kind of explaining why they were even going out there.
Right.
So on 11/15/2022, LS and CF came to Moscow PD substation to speak with Officer Ronsky and I regarding an incident that was possibly related to the homicide that occurred on 11/13/2022. Now, they stated on 10/21/2022, an unidentified white male came to the women's center and asked to speak to someone. Now, F spoke to the male, and she stated he asked for snacks and appeared to be under the influence. Now, she stated that the interaction only lasted about 5 minutes. F stated that the male said he had a female friend who is in a bad relationship. He said that he was afraid that the female would have been hurt by her boyfriend and was also afraid that he would hurt the boyfriend due to that behavior. Now, F did not gather any names and had never seen the male before. I asked both F and S if they had any contact with the victims, and they said they didn't, and that they didn't have any of their contacts documented. On 11/15/2022, at approximately 11:50 hours, AA came to the substation to speak to him. I was told by Corporal Payne that A went to Gritman on 11/13/22 to seek medical care for cuts on his hand. I asked A what happened to his hand, and he stated on 11/12/2022, around 8 p.m., he cut his hand when he was trying to cut his chicken for his sandwich. He stated he was intoxicated and, he was trying to cut the meat with his pocket knife.
Yes.
Jesus,
Yeah.
because the spam was a little rough. Just,
Wow.
well,
Yeah.
and the pocket knife slipped from his hand and he cut his hand. I asked when he went to the hospital, and he read his wristband from the hospital and said he had been in on 11/13/22 at about 1400 hours, so 2 p.m.
Yeah. Well, and so, I went to a wedding not too long ago, and it was an outdoor wedding, and they had it sort of catered, but they ran out of silverware. And I always keep, well, not always, but most of the time I'm carrying a pocket knife, and so which was awesome because, you know, there was like some meat, cheese, and crackers and stuff like that. And, you know, big pieces of meat that you couldn't really fit on the cracker. And so, you know, I went over there, I pull out my pocket knife and I'm cutting the meat and I'm putting it on the cracker. And I look over and this other guy, I was already doing the same thing. He was just like, he just looked at me. We gave each other like that. Yeah.
You should have said, "That's not a knife. This is a knife," and just, you know, Crocodile Dundee'd it. That's what I would have done.
But I could understand why. Yeah, you could get intoxicated cutting a sandwich. Just, you know, you're like, I don't want to grab this whole sandwich. You know, I just want to cut it in half, and my hand slipped. And
well, and it is really, I mean, I was expecting more of these to be, you know, like, I don't like my boyfriend, I'm going to call. But these have, at least these first two have been ones where people are actually thinking, you know, this seems really hinky and it could actually have something not, I'd like my boyfriend to be out of the house for a while so I can cheat on him or things
Right.
like that.
Well, and also something that, and there's a reason why a lot of these never got released out to the public until now, is because there will be all these true crimers that are all of a sudden going, oh my God, it had to be him. Look, he had hurt himself. He cut himself with a knife. And somebody, you know, they said somebody cut themselves with a knife whenever they were doing the stabby. So it's probably him. And if that would have been the only one they released, then of course, then that would be prime suspect right there and could ruin someone's life.
Well, and speaking on that, I do believe that the lawsuit against the YouTube,
I mean, think about that, what he just said. So he showed up to a domestic shelter and demanded a sandwich. I love it. Where's my sandwich? On 11/15/2022, when I arrived at work, I had several voicemails on my desk phone. Well, I went through those phones and I received a call from AM. A told me she was at the corner club with two of the victims, Madison and Kaylee, the night prior to the murders. She told me there was a college-aged male known by Madison. A told me the male was wearing a black and white flannel shirt with a black shirt underneath that had writing in white letters and said antisocial.
oh, fuck, the wrong night to be wearing that shirt.
Exactly. Well, Anarchy told me the college-aged male, who has been identified as CB, was acting creepy. She said he wasn't engaging people in conversation. He was just staring at the girls and groups she was with, because he was like trying to make eye contact with one of you.
Yeah, if he looks at his shoes, he's creepy. If he tries to engage you in conversation, he's creepy. If he does nothing and just waits for his food like an unengaged inside cat, he's creepy.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation. Well, she told me B had been grabbing girls by the butt and being handsy. Well, he was grabbing their asses. He's being all handsy. A said she confronted B and told him, stop touching the girls inappropriately or she would have him kicked out of the bar. At one point, Madison introduced her, A, to B and told her she knew him. A said she let her guard down just a little when it came to B and was later told by Madison that she only knew through class of the group project in which they had worked out together. A said a short time later, B was kicked out of the bar. Short time later, I took a call from DJ. J told me he works at the sexy saloon. Jay said he had a regular customer by the name of GP who comes in almost every day. Jay said B makes everyone feel insecure because he acts and the dark things he says. Jay told me B lives in the area of the homicides. I looked up B's numbers in Spillman and it shows an address in Congesta. P had numerous involvements with the police department over the last 2
Imagine you have dark
decades.
humor and you went to Blockbusters once and now you got people calling the Idaho PD. Like, okay, I'm not trying to make no assumption, Mr. Officer, but he has rented seven at least 8 times, and he does have a permanent rental on Silence of the Lambs. You're welcome.
I'm scared. Some of which related to possible mental health issues. Possible mental health issues. Okay. Like the dude was probably doing drugs all the time. Like, dude, I don't care. Fuck you.
That's pretty much. November 15th, 2022, at approximately 12:48 hours, I spoke with Redacted President RH about the 1122 King Road residence. I asked H if she knew the people who lived in the home. H said yes. She said they were a close group of friends who primarily hung out with themselves. Cultist. Or Catholics. I mean,
Could be
take your pick.
either. We could be
I
Pentecostal.
asked H if she ever went to parties at the house. H said she did a couple of times, but the parties were small. She said the roommates were a pretty tight group who didn't throw big parties. I asked if she knew about any drug use or sales from the house. And H thought that Xana and Ethan might have used a little bit of the C, but nothing big, and no one sold any street legal pharmaceuticals. So, I asked her if she knew whether larger quantities of drugs were kept in the residence, and H said no. H told me she was at the Corner Club on November 13th, 2022, between midnight and 2 o'clock. She said that Madison and Kaylee were also in the Corner Club during that time. H said she heard of a male being kicked out of the bar because he was acting quote-unquote creepy towards Madison. I asked H if she had any other details about this male or the incident, and she said no.
That
I
was
told
probably
H,
probably the same guy that got kicked out earlier because he was grabbing girls' butts.
yeah. And again, with hindsight, you're going to be like, okay, well, I didn't think anything about it that time, but you go back and you Zapruder film your own mind, and then everyone looks creepy.
Yeah.
Everyone looks a little shifty. And
Even the
honest to
bartender.
goodness,
Even
yeah,
the bartender
it's
that's probably been working there since, before you were born. He's creepy looking.
well, yeah, but he makes a good Long Island iced tea, so we're not getting rid of him. The last time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to
Well, no,
interrupt you
it
on
was
that last
just
line.
it was
Okay.
just where they'd signed it.
Well, so this guy did like a little neighborhood canvas, and we started from the rear. We reached around the residence, covered the small hill area just behind 1122 King Road, right behind.
Would that be the taint?
Exactly. There was a small black bag that had obviously been out in the weather for some time. It was just cold. There was nothing in it. Well, we searched up the parking lot of Queen Road and worked southwest along the hillside below the parking lot. We searched the fenced backyard of Walenta Drive, continued west. Oh, that would be California side.
Yes.
From there, I was joined by Sergeant Gunderson. He's a large man. He dances really funny. And when we went through the south side of King Road around the back, then back west between King Road and King Road, I worked over to Queen Road because we didn't want to mess with Pond Road because that would have just been way out of our way. Going north and between Queen Road and King Road out to Taylor Avenue. We also call it Bishop Avenue, but nothing like the Night Avenue. We crisscrossed the open play field from Taylor Avenue north to Nez Pence Drive at a crosswalk near undisclosed. We walked the pathway. We held hands by the World War I Memorial Grove. We stopped at that point. We snuggled. I returned to the intersection of Taylor Avenue and King Road where I met with Chief Fry again. From that point, we proceeded east along the south side of Taylor Avenue, looking at the shrubbery. Gently brushed hands and around the cars parked along the curb and thought, Chief, wouldn't it be nice if at the entrance to the parking lot of Taylor Avenue, I located a black vest laying in the grass next to the fire hydrant? Well, that vest appeared to be weathered with leaves and debris on it. It appeared to have been there for several days. Well, I reached in, I checked those pockets, I examined the vest, but well, I didn't find anything of note. Well, if you're in Indiana, then yes, everyone likes caffeine.
Look, it's kind of a prerequisite.
Exactly. Well, I checked those pockets, I examined the vest, didn't find anything. As we continued to walk east along the south side of Taylor Avenue, I noticed a large amount of trash. It was so dirty. And various items on the grass and the bushes, including various glasses, plastic bottles, pipes of various types. Pipes of various types sounds like a drug, Dad. Some articles of clothing such as a t-shirt and underwear, men's and women's. Didn't find the people in them. We just found the underdrawers. Various papers and litter all appeared to have been in the area for several days or weeks. And I couldn't determine any evidentiary value for any of those items that I saw, especially that month-old burger. It did not taste good. From there, I went down south to Linda Avenue. I walked west between Taylor Avenue and Linda Lane, north to the easternmost building of Queen Road, then up to the parking lot, north side of Queen Road, back to Queens Road, where I started. Well, that's all I got to say about that. I didn't get anything except, bad case of salmonella.
Trash. And apparently a bunch of different pipes of all assortments. I feel like we're in Tremors where they're having that scene. We've got clean pipes, dirty pipes, all the pipes you need. That being said, inappropriate. On 11/16/2022, I spoke with KN at the substation on University of Idaho campus. So this is really interesting because this is where I think they first start even looking at it's Idaho because he was in Washington.
Right.
Because it was very near the beginning of the investigation where they started finding the car and noticing the white Hyundai or whatever it is. Let's see. Of University of Idaho campus, I asked Kay if she had any special relationship with the victims, and Kay said she was really good friends with Xana and had met Xana freshman year. Kay said she was also close friends with Kaylee and had met her freshman year also during recruitment. Kay said she knew Kaylee the best. I asked if Kaylee hung out or associated with anyone with violent tendencies, and Kay said no.
Yeah, all the time. Usually the football players, because, they take
Like
a few hits to the head.
Is she a jet or a shark? Like, in the formation, was she doing this? Or was she lower snapping? Was she an upper snapper or a lower snapper?
I don't know, but she showed her snapper. What?
Let's see. She didn't hang out with anyone. She said no and expressed confusion about the incident because she had seen it on the news. Kay said that Kaylee mainly stuck together with her roommates, Xana B and F, Madison D and M. Kay said that Kaylee also hung out with the King girls, which were J, T, N, F, B, and D, along with A and V.
Well, it sounds like they called them the King girls. So that means we're our own little group. We're the King girls. Rah, rah, ree. Sorry.
And that Kaylee said, if anyone was involved with any sort of illegal substances, but more specifically Kaylee, and not Kaylee, said just coke probably.
God,
Again,
what is it?
I know I am like this close to Pollyanna, but like I could understand like saying, yeah, she does a little bit of ganja, but everyone's like, no, it's just a little bit of coke, like, just a little bit. I'm like, do what now?
Huh?
Like apparently.
Is this a thing in college? I guess.
I wasn't doing college right. No wonder they got all those papers done. I was using caffeine pills like Kelly Morrison from Saved by the Bell. I didn't realize it was supposed to be an analog for speed.
Well, you couldn't figure out why they were doing this.
I was just trying to I'm so excited. Showgirls, you didn't do Kelly justice.
It's so bad. Oh.
Now when Kay was asked if she'd ever seen Kaylee doing said C, she said no, but she knew
No.
Xana was pretty into it. This is all alleged. Again, this
Yeah.
is, we don't know. So, Detective Dean then asked if Ethan, Xana's boyfriend, was into C, and Kay said she didn't know. Kay said she didn't really know Ethan that well. Detective Dean asked if drugs were being sold from the house or if drugs were maybe used for more parties. Now, Kay said that they were used but not sold.
Yeah.
Detective then asked if there were large quantities at the house or if the house was ever known as a drug house, and she said no.
No, they were just college students and they were partying. That's
Apparently,
it.
they were doing recreational coke as you do when you're in
Well,
college.
well, I mean, and if I'm not trying to throw shade on it, but just imagine that you're in the middle of, what is it, Idaho? It is probably pretty boring on a regular
Yeah.
basis. And
Well,
instead of like going for nice walks in the park and enjoying like the beautiful scenery, you're just like, man, whenever I get my boyfriend on the sea, man, he just goes all damn night. Like I can get him to do things with that tongue that you'd never imagine. You just sprinkle a little bit down there, it goes numb. It's awesome. I mean, you never know what the hell they're doing. They're just
not
partying like there's
scheduling Mr. Mo and I a plane ticket to Idaho. Be right back. Airbnb, hello, how are you? How are
hello,
you with
Idaho.
their damage and rental policies? Because nothing parties like a rental.
Oh my God. But I could see where, it's more of the college town. They're probably not, they're not used to this kind of thing. They're coming fresh out of high school, and all of a sudden you've got your local guy that's like, hey, I'll hook you up with some party drugs.
Well, that and
And
they are closer to the West Coast. And
right.
again, I am probably just because I was an inside cat. This was probably a thing at my college too. I just
Right.
didn't hang out with the cool kids.
Well, and also it's not like they're out there selling the drugs, because they're in party mode, like 24/7, party, 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 until it's like, oh shit, I gotta have that paper done. Well, let me get a whole bunch of it so that way I can stay awake and finish this paper, and then they go back to partying once they're done. And that's college. I mean, I'm not, and so I don't see them as. But I could understand where they'd be like, is this a drug house? I mean, are they
Yeah.
selling out of it? Those are valid questions
Well,
to
you
ask.
do
But
have to ask those questions. I mean, especially when it looks like something that could be out of a cartel and you are, you're on a major thoroughfare, a major, highway route up to Canada. I'm sure
right,
they have seen their fair share of,
bypass
pharmaceutical
throughs.
trafficking, stuff.
And using college students would be really easy to do, because hey, who's going to be looking at college students? The college students get some extra money, and it's just this is going to stay here for a couple of days. Don't open it, don't look at it, don't talk to it. And somebody will come by and they'll pick it up, and you'll find some money just there, and everybody would be cool with it. I could see how that could work,
Yeah.
Breaking Bad kind of shit.
I asked Kay if Kaylee had ever mentioned anything about having a stalker or having concerns with someone, and Kay said no. Now, Kay also said that Kaylee never mentioned anything to any of the other girls. Kay asked if we had seen the Twitch stream. I asked Kay what she saw in the stream, and she mentioned that there were two guys. I asked Kay if she had recognized the two guys, and she said she hadn't. Kay said her friend C and G were at the Grub Hub, or not the Grub Hub, the Grub truck, and saw Kaylee and Madison. Kay said that P mentioned that there were two males being weird. I asked Kay if she might have recognized anyone from the Grubhub stream, and Kay said no. Because if you guys remember, this particular food truck basically does a live stream. And
Yeah.
this, in fact, caused a lot of problems for the gentleman who was working the Grubhub. Because again, true crimers, with their speculation and no idea, thought he looked shifty in, the footage.
Yeah, and he's just there selling food to a bunch of drunk college students before they go home. I mean, it wasn't uncommon, put it this way, I dated a stripper that whenever I'd go to pick her up, there would be this little van that would show up and they would be loaded up with barbecue sandwiches. They'd pull up as the bar was shutting down. No, we're talking good Texas barbecue. These
Oh,
sandwiches were awesome. And they
why
would,
is it I don't have like I could be a
oh,
stripper. Okay, I don't have rhythm, but you get me a barbecue sandwich.
Uh, I'll strip for you now. But no, I would show up and these guys would pull up in like a van, you know, one of those box vans, and it would be loaded up with like heated boxes.
Oh,
And then they
so
would
like
open those things up and they would have guys and they were selling them for $1 a piece. And these guys would come out of the bar. They'd been drinking. They would look over at the Jack in a Box that was across caddy corner across from. There would be a line all the way around the place, and they're just like, "Give me 5 of those things," you know. So there's $5 right there. They would sell out almost every single night. And I remember,
I bet.
I showed up, and I was just like, the first time I was like, "What in the hell?" And it's just like, "You're going in?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm here to pick up my girlfriend." It was just like, "Oh, here." Hands me a couple of them, and I was just like, "Oh, thanks." I bit into that. I was like, "Oh my God, like this is really fucking good." I turned around. I was like, "Dude, that's really damn
Really
good." He was
good.
just like, "Oh, thanks." And I turned around and gave him like $5. He was
Yeah,
like,
he should be charging more. I mean, these people are drunk. You can charge them bunches.
and they weren't big. They were about slider
Oh,
size, so they weren't
okay. Well,
like these
that
big,
makes
huge
sense.
sandwiches. Yeah, they were smaller. But I was like, "Damn, that's really good." I gave him like $5, dude. Every time I'd show up, he would just be like, "Hey, here you go," and I'd be like, "Oh,
You'd be like,
thanks."
hey, thanks, sandwich dude.
He was cool.
Nice to see you at Muffy's.
Exactly. Oh God, I miss those days.
Let's see. I asked Kay if there was anything mentioned as to why the males were labeled weird, and Kay said she thought one of the males nudged the other male, like, "Oh, those are your girls. Go get them." Okay, ladies, not everything is creepy. Sometimes men are just weird, but they're with other men and they police their own for the most part.
Yeah.
Kay said that P would probably be worth talking to because she was there at the time. I asked Kay if P spoke with Kaylee, and Kay she said she might have said hi, but she wasn't sure. And Kay also mentioned that ZM had hung out with Kaylee and Madison all night at the corner club. I asked Kay if any of the victims had any issues with anyone, and Kay said that Kaylee was unproblematic and peaceful. Kay said she couldn't imagine why someone would have violent tendencies around her, and Kay said she felt the same way about Madison. Kay said that if anything, maybe, Ethan or Xana might have been the one that someone had an issue with.
Right.
I asked if Ethan or Xana were associated with violent people, and Kay said this because Kay said that Xana and Ethan were more outgoing and hung out with more different friend groups.
I could see that. It's
Yeah,
like you've got
yeah.
your core friend group that live at the house, but
Well,
they're a little more outgoing. They're just not as much homebodies. It's just like, so they would have extra friends outside of that
and I
group.
do like that the police officer is asking follow-up questions instead of saying, okay, Xana and Ethan definitely, cartel members, you know. But, because having people explain why they label something, and especially I've noticed this, Alessi was really good with this in the Karen Reed trial. So he would make sure that they both understood the definitions for certain terms that they were using, that they both defined it in either the same way
Right.
or something like that, because it makes sense when she explains it there. But if you had just said, well, Xana and Ethan, and not explained a little more, then
Right.
that would have been, extra time that might have had to been wasted looking down that path.
Exactly.
Detective asked if Kaylee or Madison had recently had a boyfriend or ex-boyfriend, and Kay said that Kaylee was dating a guy named Jay for a couple years, and he was a really nice person. They were high school sweethearts, and, she had spoken to Kaylee a few days before the incident, and she had said that once she graduated, she was looking for an apartment in Texas. Now, Kay said that Kaylee met a guy from Texas and, they were going to be roommates. Now, I asked Kay if Kaylee and Jay were still together, and Kaylee mentioned when they'd mentioned this sort of move to Texas, and Kay said that they had already broken up. Kay then said that Jay mentioned that Kaylee had attempted to call Jay around 3 a.m., asking if he was up. Kay said she didn't think that Jay replied because Kaylee thought he thought it was some kind of booty call.
Help me out.
The detective asked how they knew that Kaylee had attempted to reach out to Jay, and Kay said it was because Jay had told her. Now, Kay said she thought that they found out after people were asking Jay if he knew anything that happened. The detective then asked if Madison had a boyfriend, and Kay said yes. They call him S, but she thought his first name was also starting with a J. Kay said that they were still together and that they didn't have any problems as far as she knew, and that Shizzy was a really good dude.
He was a really good
But
dude.
he was short, maybe
He's short.
5'7", balding. Living with his mom in a van down by the river.
In a van down by the
Down by the river. Kids these days, you don't know what you're missing. SNL used to be good. It was funny.
Yes.
We had Chris Farley, Chris Rock, Adam Sandler. It was an amazing time to be alive. We had David Spade. We had Dennis Miller at some times, and we had the great, oh God, Neil. Why am I blanking his name?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, God damn it. He did, he made
Dirty
fun
Deeds.
of O.J. Simpson's, and
Yeah,
that's
he did
why
he did
Norm
that movie,
Macdonald.
Dirty Deeds. Ron McDonald. Yeah.
Norm
Norm
not
McDonald. Yeah, Norm McDonald.
Ronald McDonald.
Ronald McDonald. Yeah, Norm McDonald. Yes, Norm. Oh,
Yes.
Norm is so awesome.
So this boyfriend, who is a pretty good guy, lives in Coeur d'Alene. Now, Kay said that someone was Madison's little. Now, I believe that's something to do with fraternities and sororities as far as having like a little sister.
Okay.
But
I guess that would make sense, but I was just like a little, like, what, a little side piece, little ass? I mean,
let's see. So Kay said that Kaylee and Madison were closest to all of the roommates. The detective asked if Dee had a boyfriend, and Kay said yes. Dee said that his name was QK, and he lived in Boise. Kay said that Q was nice and hardworking, and that he had epilepsy and wasn't a violent person. Now, Kay said she wasn't aware of any issues between any of the roommates. I asked if Kaylee had hung out with any other males, and she said Kaylee was talking to a guy named MB, who was a member of somewhere.
probably a fraternity.
Yeah, Kay said that they might have had a sexual relationship and would hook up here or there.
Well,
Kay
as you do
described,
whenever you're doing cocaine and have a boyfriend. Yeah.
well, she was broken up. They were on a break. We're on a
Yeah.
break. For
Yeah.
Ross and Rachel. Kay described M to be over 6 feet tall, brunette with a medium build, and he's serving as a vice president to, again, probably the fraternity.
Yeah.
I asked Kay if there was anyone else that Kaylee spent time with, and Kay said no, unless Kaylee met someone at the bar that night. Now, Kay didn't know if she had met anyone in particular, but heard that a male had gotten kicked out for creepiness towards Madison. Now, I know that she said she was closer to Kaylee, but I do think that the police at this point were focusing in on Kaylee due to the fact that her face was, it obviously looked like it was a much more rage-filled attack
Right.
on her. Let's see
And
here.
it's interesting because I wonder if, like, maybe she was nice to him at some point in time and he took it the wrong way and she turned him down and just
Well, I'm almost wondering if it's kind of like the twin flames in reverse. Like she was nice or she said hi to him at one point, and then from then on, he thought they were in a relationship.
And she
And
had not, she probably never
yeah,
even
and
paid any attention to it. That's a
no,
possibility. Never
let's see
know.
here. Kay said the last time she spoke with Kaylee was around 1700 hours on 11/13/22. She said Kaylee showed up with all of her roommates at the apartment, the Whites, sometime between 1430 and 1500, so 2:30 to 3. They left between, no, 5 and 6. I was right.
Yeah,
I love how
five
I'm
and
like,
six.
no, you can't math. And I'm like, no, I did it right. And my brain's like, we're not good at math. Maybe don't like sell us a little high on this. Because part of my brain is like, we got this right. And the other part's like, are you sure it's math?
Yeah, it's a 24-hour clock. Oh,
So basically, again, I do like that they are going through with all of the friends. This isn't something that we've seen in every, police investigation of late. So it is nice that they really did take this
well,
very
and
seriously.
there's a possibility that this is the kind of stuff that you would find in other cases. It's just this one because everyone's looking for answers and they don't have any, and this is about the closest they can find to what the investigation incurred. I mean, it wouldn't be abnormal for, if there was something violent like this that happened, thinking what was a guy like Dahmer, for example, or,
Yeah.
that there wasn't, these kinds of questions, these kinds of, paperwork done that had probably been destroyed, after the case is closed. They were just like,
Yeah.
we
And I
don't need this
think
anymore.
it's the lack of close kind of ties to anything. I
Right.
mean, I do think if Kohberger was more of a Bundy, then we wouldn't be so interested in this because he would have already kind of given his spiel.
Right.
But I think it is sort of the ambiguity of how did he find these people? How did he, because this obviously took some foreplanning, even if he didn't execute it well. I mean, to be able to go in to very quickly sort of subdue, you know, again, and the
Four
confidence it
people.
takes to, well, the confidence it takes to walk into a house knowing that, you don't have a full body count on even who all is in there. You
Right.
are a lone person going in with not a, force multiplier. You're going in with a knife. And this is Idaho. So,
These are some farm boys.
yeah. Yes. Just making sure there wasn't.
On 11/17/22 at 14:30, I responded to the University of Idaho. Took Detective Dean and myself to a conference room to speak. We sat down, we looked into each other's eyes, and stated on Sunday, 11/13/2022, between the hours of 9 and 10 in the morning, he was walking his dog. He stated he was walking by the first time he noticed the front door to 1122 King Road on the north side of the building facing the campus was wide open. Well, he said he knew it was a party house, so he assumed someone was just too drunk and forgot to close the damn door the night prior. Said that he walked his dog up Taylor Avenue to Blake Avenue, down Sweet Avenue, and said the walk took him about an hour. I was just moseying along. Stated that when he walked back to his apartment around 11 o'clock, the front door was still wide open. He said, he is unsure if the information was known or not, but thought I should let you guys know. I asked him if he knew anyone who lived in the house. He said, not personally, but passing. They're nice enough people.
Yeah.
Send him on his way. Those just look like cell phone dumps right there.
Yeah.
I'd just skip over that unless there's anything in there. Yeah, that's just a cell
Not that
phone
makes
dump.
any sense to me.
I mean, it would make sense in a case of some sort. I'm going to go grab a beverage. I'll be right back.
Okie dokie, I'll start reading. On November 15, 2022, I received an email from SG, the blank of Kaylee and Clavies. So I'm guessing this is going to be either sister, I'm guessing this is Sierra, or no, Steve. So he stated he had access to some of Kaylee's messages and phone calls. He stated he would have blank and A contact him about these files. I was able to speak to A, and she sent me various files, including an image from spokesman review showing a camera on a nearby residence, text messages between Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend, and text messages between Kaylee and her Uber driver, plus a recent call list, a video from the Grub truck Twitch TV feed. I attached those files to the case file. The communication between Kaylee and D was located on the D phone examination, and Twitch feed was previously downloaded. In the image showing the camera, it was found that the residence at blank King Road, the SD file the card from that camera was brought to the Moscow Police Department, but there was a file system the file system of the card was not recognized by any of the forensic computers,
Right.
and the card was returned to the owner and reinstalled in the camera. On November 17th, Officer John Rosinski recontacted the owner of the camera via phone. She stated she was out of town, but sent a video to the officer showing a figure walk to the dumpster and appear to look inside. To preserve any potential evidence on the camera, I asked her if we could seize the entire device, including the SD card, to which she said yes. She stated she wouldn't be back into Moscow until November the 28th, and I directed her to contact me when she returned to her residence, at which time, she could get her camera back.
To her Wi-Fi router, review the video for the device.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what it is so this particular camera, more than likely, it's no different than one of the cameras that I have. That you can set it up, you can stream from it, but it has a proprietary software inside the camera. So
Oh,
like
okay.
you wouldn't be able to just pop that SD card in and pull anything up because it's got
Oh,
proprietary
that
software.
makes. I was wondering why you couldn't, because I figured you could just take the SD card out, but that makes sense if
Yeah,
they
and
scramble it with Harry Potter magic.
exactly. And so, if she plugs the camera in, they could easily upload that off the camera itself, or she could upload it like an app or something like that and send it to them, like the whole thing, which, it's not uncommon. It's just like, yeah, you can have the SD card, but it's not going to do you any good, dummies.
I'd be like, just take the whole damn thing. And they'd be like, ma'am, can you unload this? Or as soon as I get home, look, I told you I'd be home here. I didn't say I was tech support. I don't know how you work it. Look, my husband okay, well, when's your husband gonna be home? I don't know.
I don't know. Some bitch done ran off with the maid last week.
I was like, don't you guys know computer magic?
Looks like this is just received an email showing a screenshot of Facebook post. On the post account, the user's name was something, reported details of incident, search for this user, found a user ID of something. This account had an avatar similar to the M avatar. I was able to pull the account. It appeared to have the following friends associated with it. Who knows? Requested preservation on Facebook. That's it.
Let's see here. On November 13, 2022, I was informed 2 of the victims had been patrons at the Grub truck located on Main Street in Moscow, Idaho. I was also informed that Grub truck streams live feeds of their customers and sales via Twitch TV. I was able to locate Twitch account Grub Truckers and locate the stream from November, 12th through the 13th. This stream was labeled the Carbonara Effect. We'll never reveal our secret ingredient. Oh God, the titles that we
That's
pulled
awesome.
it Mo in the Deep End, and it had Sarah Boone, the Cheese Chronicle, or the Cheese Slice Chronicles. And I'll be like, yes, it was my alibi. Do you
It was
think I go out with the Sarah Boone wig? Hell no.
Well, it was better. It was better than the Zipper Chronicles.
Now, in the video, Kaylee and Maddie were seen walking into the camera view at 3:43:01. They were accompanied by a male, later identified as J, parentheses J, and then S. Goncalves orders and receives food. At the 3:53:31 timestamps, the girls are seen walking around the truck and leaving the area. S appears to be talking with a whole other patron and doesn't see the girls leave. S then raises his arms in a what fashion and walks in a different direction than the girls.
Yeah, somebody probably hollered at him. He was like, "What?" Like,
Yeah,
or
or he's
hey,
like,
how's
"Where'd
it
they
going? Good to
go?"
see you. Like, yeah, it's not abnormal.
No.
Oh, and of course that Grub truck video, everybody was like, "Well, maybe it was this person. It could have been this person." It's just like
Yeah.
don't be speculating. You don't know. I was asked to conduct a follow up on SB. I was told B was contacted on a certain date, asked to watch them. B left his dorm at a little bit after midnight. He was wearing a black long sleeve shirt, black sweats, and about 12:53, B returned at 15:03 hours. B left again wearing a black beanie, black gloves, white
Oh,
jacket.
not the night to cosplay as Tim Pool.
No.
Seriously.
But it was cold out at 1948 hours. At 7:40, he returned to the dorm without the beanie, gloves, and jacket, but then left again with a backpack, and he was gone until 11:13 at 12:25. When he returned to the dorm, I reported the information to ISB. Nothing. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to go through everything
yeah,
if
this
in
is
every
thorough.
dorm. Yeah. Let's see. On November 18th, 2022, I logged into the Uber law enforcement portal and submitted an exigent preservation request for any location data associated with Uber driver named EG with the phone number of redacted. Now, due to the nature of an investigation, Uber recommended an exigency request for preservation
Which is
in a
good.
yeah. And to be honest, I mean, I didn't know that Uber had a back portal for law enforcement, but it makes sense that they
Yeah.
would.
Well, and they're telling them this is what you need to do if you want to preserve something. If you want to, because we're not going to give out our information, but if it's law enforcement related and it can help out your case, then we've got it as a backup. You know, just. But you're going to
In a
have,
s-
we're not just going to hand it out to anybody. You're going
yeah.
to have to jump through hoops to get this shit.
In a screenshot received from AG, it showed messages which appeared to be from G's phone between Kaylee Goncalves and himself. The name of the recipient is Kaylee Uber. It is unknown if G was on duty with Uber at the time of him picking up Goncalves and Madison Mogan. Uber stated if the driver was on duty, it would show the location of the vehicle. If the driver was not on duty, Uber would not have that data. I was informed by Uber customer service that this is common if the driver provides personal transportation services. Now at 14:34, I received an email from Uber stating that they had received my request. And I received an email at approximately, well, it looks like 4 o'clock. So he received an email that they'd received his request. Then he received follow-up of those files at 4. So that's really good, which contained files regarding Uber logs of EG. Now, records showed his location up until approximately 1:15, where it appears that no other information is found and he goes off duty. These records were attached to the case file. No warrant was requested or returned, as Uber provided the data via the exigent request.
Yeah, which is really good. So basically, you know, they give him the information of, well, and all it is showing a log where he was at any specific time.
Well, yeah.
And you know, I don't know what all is involved in those because, well, I'm not law enforcement. I'm sure law enforcement would know that if they were asking for it. But it's basically, you know, they can determine, was he in the area at that particular time? And if he wasn't in the area at that particular time, if he went off duty, which is common, especially if you're, you know, you're just like, I don't want a bunch of drunk people in my freaking car at night. You know, I do
Oh,
this
yeah.
as extra money, so I'm happy doing it during like working hours. But as soon as the bars are shutting down, I'm not. I'm off
out.
duty. I'm out off duty. There's other drivers that are just like, no, because I can make really good money at that point in time. They'll do it.
Yeah.
Personal preference. personal preference, I would imagine. So that gives good. That's pretty solid. I mean, would give him an alibi. You know, if for
Yeah.
example, something happened in a certain period of time, or you know, he can say, "Listen, I went home. I went off duty. I went home. I'd been working since 4 o'clock, and here it is. You know, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm done. I've driven more
Yeah.
than I need to."
Yeah, and I mean, at least it also shows, hey, I did talk to her. Like, if anything shows up on my phone, at least in this purview, it's legitimate. Because imagine if you didn't have this sort of tracking and, you know, your vengeful ex-girlfriend finds something from Kaylee Goncalves on your phone.
Right.
And then this looks like
It just looks like they located some stuff.
it looks like either laptops were
Laptops.
taken from the residence and an iPad. So just logging the, you know, electronical stuff.
Ooh, on November 13th, 2022, I was informed of a possible surveillance camera. It was located on King Road. Well, Corporal Ryan Snyder had spoken with one of the residents at this location and PC who had a camera used in the Home Eye Pro app on the porch of their dwelling. Well,
Why did I read that as Popeye? And I was like, you know, I trust Popeye to watch my house.
Corporal Snyder provided me with a username and password for the Home Eye Pro account associated with that camera. I asked Corporal Snyder if the video was stored on a cloud-based system for me to view it, or if he could download a copy of the video. Hey, how's it going? Hey, music man, good to see you.
And
Well,
Tom, one of these days, I'll be the leader in the LPG. Wait, what is it? What is the WNBA for golf? What's the
well,
chick league?
it would be WG,
PGA?
yeah, WGPGA, Women's Pro Golf Association. I think that's right.
Oh, we're both wrong.
Oh, am I?
Because I was like, the chicks that play golf?
LPGA. That's what I said. Oh, no,
We
I
were
was
like
thinking,
the
I said W.
WPGA.
It's LPGA. Not
Well,
to
it's
be
like
confused.
UPS and USPS, which I think the government should have to divest of anything that sounds like UPS.
That's the worst part. It's a private entity. The mail service is a private entity. They're so screwed.
Well, we are screwed. But for many different reasons.
Well, and I asked him if I could download a copy of it. And well, I was provided a 32 gigabyte SD card from the camera, but the file format, well, it didn't work on our forensic computers, again, because they're completely useless, and prompted me to format the disk. Well, Corporal Snyder informed me that C could screen capture the video from her phone, and the card was returned to C to enable her to assist in the acquisition of that data. And on November 17th, I requested the assistance of Officer John Roninsky to recontact C and see if she could provide the video from the camera. Officer Roninsky contacted C, who stated, "Listen, bitch, I'm in Boise right now until November 28th. It's the holidays." Well, Roninsky sent him a video of a male subject walking by the camera approximately 3:20 towards the dumpster. On Officer Roninsky's contacted me. I spoke to C and requested permission to remove the camera from the residence. And she said, "No, shit, why not?" Well, based on my training and experience, I know of the different video surveillance cameras use first in, first out storage retention system. This means the newer data overwrites the older data. Well, and I was concerned the data may be lost the longer the camera continued to record footage. I requested assistance from Officer Aaron Morris, because I'm technically stupid, to go to the residence.
No, but wouldn't
unscrew
that be the
camera.
worst day for your house to get burgled? Like the
Oh,
day
God.
after they remove the
Yeah, it would be.
the wet bandits come up and
And do something nefarious. Well, the camera screws to a common light bulb base commonly found on porch and patio fixtures, and he returned a short time later with the camera and the SD card. Well, on November 18, 2022, I again attempted to view the contents of the SD card. I plugged the card into a write blocker, and it still wasn't recognized by the computer. Well, I used some versions of other shit. And now about that data on the drive is recognized. And then I used it to parse the data from the card. In reviewing the data, I found over 13,000 individual images from the card.
That's a lot of nudes.
They appear to be individual video frames from the camera. Well, while attempting to view the data on the card, I received a forwarded email from CN, whose sister MK Ultra resides at the residence. The email started that she was viewing the video remotely when Officer Norris removed the camera. He stated he saw a suspicious vehicle in the area and was concerned with the video footage stored on the device being overwritten. I was then put in touch with TL, another resident at the King Road. L stated she would be back in Moscow at approximately, what is that? 20. Oh, I'm sorry.
I guess 8.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I met with Elle at her residence, and well, she said, well, I'd be willing to assist in recording the screen captures on my phone from the device. I explained to her that I'm married and would replace the camera, gather the information, and then take the camera as evidence. I also explained Elle I needed to take the wireless router since the camera was already linked to the Wi-Fi network. Elle stated she would consent, please, Mr. Officer, and allow both items to be seized. Not just one, just not one of them. You got to grab both of them. I reinstalled the camera in the light socket. Sure you did. And powered it on. Oof, she vibrated like crazy. I was able to watch as Elle accessed that footage from the camera. During this time, the camera showed a vehicle entering the area at approximately 356 and leaving at a high rate of speed at approximately 420. Elle provided the videos to me, and I uninstalled the camera, seized the wireless router, grabbed it with both hands. Both items were then taken back to the Moscow Police Department as evidence. On November 19th, while reviewing the videos located, it appeared the vehicle left the area and may have traveled on Walenta Drive. However, the video stopped in an attempt to see further and gain perhaps a better resolution. I reconstructed the wireless network the camera operated on by powering on the wireless router. I downloaded the Home iPro app on my work phone. I was able to use the app and download the video clips. These clips included audio, which were not part of the screenshots completed, and we're able to capture a longer duration. In the clips, the vehicle's exhaust and acceleration can be heard, as well as seeing the vehicle leave at a high rate of speed on Walenta Drive. Well, after capturing the clips, I disconnected the camera, Wi-Fi router, placed them into evidence. The videos were placed onto a DVD and placed into evidence. So this right here could have been him. He did have a white car.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the 19th. So with just doing good old-fashioned police work, looking at all the cameras, they had this information, or at least several solid leads going into this, and were able to, you know, at least partially rule out like the Uber people and the boyfriends and exes of some of that.
Yeah, they've got black and blue cars and gray cars. We're looking for a white car in particular. Like we can come back to these other ones because we know how to get in touch with them, but we're looking for somebody that has a white car. Does anybody in this group know of someone that has a white car that looks like
especially with the high rate of speed at 420?
Right.
Although, to be fair, it's all the stoners were just confused. They're like, it's sure dark at 420. Because it's in the morning and not the afternoon.
I mean, I had a, this would have been what, in the 80s. I had a white car that I usually would travel at a high rate of speed. I remember getting in like a game of, we called it tag. And what it was is we get the famous Amos cookies and then we would tag each other. We would like race around and throw famous Amos cookies. You had a passenger and a driver, and the driver was usually driving. The passenger was trying to hit the other one of the people in the car. As soon as they got hit, they were hit. Oh my God.
We're remaking Death Race Race with this concept. Hollywood, contact me. I've got thoughts. Well, David Carradine, get your heart out.
I could do like power slides in that car, J turns. I mean, I got like really good at driving this car. You know, it was a 4-speed manual. I taught all the chicks how to drive the damn car. Which was pretty impressive because I took them all out to the airfield and we're just like, okay, first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear. And one of them had a Volkswagen Bug that was a Baja Bug. but she got it for her birthday, but she didn't know how to drive a stick shift. So I took her out there and taught her how to drive a stick shift. But you know, it was, but yeah, so I drove at a high rate of speed. And one time I cut off this Cadillac.
Oh no.
It was one of those big Cadillacs too, with the big block engine. And those things are goddamn fast. But I was quick. I could make turns really fast. And it was funny because I would like pull in and hide in between two cars, like sort of power slide in between two cars and have the lights off. And they would go flying past or turn on the lights. And then I'd get behind them and follow them around. It was hilarious. I did that for like probably about 30 minutes. My buddy that was with me, he's like, "You're going to get us killed." I was like, I don't think so. I think they're just messing with us right now. They're just having fun. Sorry, I'm bad.
Disney's Cop episode will be on with Robert Stack narrating.
I am so surprised we didn't get busted by the cops. Because I mean, imagine a small little town, and you got these two cars just it was usually about 4 or 5 cars just racing all over the place, throwing cookies at each other.
Cops were like, "Look, we have to deal with drunks. I'm not dealing with idiots."
It's like if I catch him, I'll throw him a ticket or something. It's your time.
Okay, on November 19th, 2022, at approximately 12. I love that's my favorite time on the 24-hour time clock. 12 and 1, I tend to know. It's the other ones I'm like, let me guesstimate. I met Detective Mowry, who tasked me with downloading surveillance video footage from several USB memory drives. Detective gave me multiple small manila envelopes which contained USB memory drives collected from multiple different investigators. Detective Mowry asked me to download all the videos from all drives to place them on an external hard drive, which he provided to me. Once that task was complete, Detective asked me to copy all of the videos from that portable hard drive to the M drive of our City of Moscow network, where he had created a folder to put all the working copies of the videos into that storage. Now, after downloading the videos from the individual USB memory drives, I placed them back into the manila envelopes from which they came and sealed them with evidence tape. I did find that 2 of the USB memory drives, which came from the same envelope, did not contain any video footage, and then returned those back to Detective Mowry. Now, once all the videos were downloaded to the portable hard drive, I then copied them all onto the M drive. What the hell is an M drive? Is that like the big, like
No,
just rooms of computer stuff?
No, they're M. So that they just have it labeled M drive. It's like your main hard drive is your C drive, and then you have your D drive, which is usually like a hard disk or a CD-ROM or something like that. But if you had multiple hard drives, that's what it would be. And if they're on a network, they probably have that one particular named as M drive. They may have A through Z, or they could have them numbered, whatever. So he's downloading them into the M drive, which is very specific.
Sense.
So that way you know where to find that particular file folder.
And this entire task would be impossible for Mo. I'm so proud of him for finishing it, because he's like, I got them all off the USB drive. That is 3 solid weeks of work for Mo right here. And he's like, and he put them onto a hard drive. That is like another month and a half.
Yeah, he did this like in like 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't take very long, especially they're coming off those little drives. They don't take very long to get off of there. They probably have maybe, I mean, one of our, let's put it this way. If I did a 4-hour stream, it might be a gig of material. And you're talking about these things are probably like 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes long. They're not very long, so they wouldn't take hard time at all. Well, about at about 1:48, I spoke with RC on the phone. She said, I'm good friends with Kaylee, but she was also friends with Zaina Kernut and Ethan. And P said she was a member of the sorority. P is currently a junior at the University of Idaho, UI, not UTI, and said that she was not aware of anyone that Kaylee associated with that had violent tendencies, because they're looking for someone that might be violent. She said, well, I'm not aware of Kaylee's being involved in drugs anyway. I mean, She never shared with me. Said she knew people partied with drugs, but I don't know Kaylee or other roommates being involved in drugs. Said she didn't know if drugs were being sold from the residence. She said that she was at a party earlier the day at her friend's apartment, and the Whites said that the apartment that she saw Kaylee, Madison, Zana, Ethan, said that they're all just hanging out, and there were other people there as well, and said nobody was of concern at the apartment. Everyone present, I mean, they all knew each other, and I knew them. Said the last she saw Kaylee was at the Grub truck, and said she arrived after Kaylee, and said Kaylee was there with Madison, and Kaylee's demeanor was pretty good. They struck up a conversation. Now, hi, girl. Said Kaylee seemed really happy. Said Kaylee and Madison were laughing. Probably because, you put your lipstick on backwards. Said she did not have a conversation with Madison, only Kaylee. Said they didn't mention what their plans were after the Grub truck, just that they were getting some damn food because they'd be hungry, been drinking. Well,
Yep.
said Kaylee and Madison seemed a little intoxicated, but nothing abnormal. Believe they came from the club. And he said Kaylee seemed coherent, but stumbling or slurring her words. But I mean, you could tell, had been drinking. Didn't know if Kaylee or Madison showed up to the Grub truck with anyone. Said she later watched the Twitch video and it appeared someone showed up with Kaylee and Madison, but she didn't recognize that individual. Said her friends didn't either, and said after Kaylee got her food, she saw Kaylee and Madison walk in the direction of the campus. P didn't see anyone follow him. When P mentioned that she saw the Grub truck video, someone walking in the same direction, she said she heard that there was someone concerning at the corner club, and said that there was an individual being creepy towards Madison and was kicked out. But P was not aware of any other males that Kaylee spent much time with, and said she knew that Kaylee had an ex-boyfriend. They went to UI, but man, you understood they were on good terms. She knew Madison had a boyfriend, graduated from UI. P didn't know his name. And she didn't know anyone that Ethan and Zana hung out with. Said she wished she had more to share. I thanked her for her time and concluded the interview. Paid her $5 and she went on her way.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got to know that human nature is that, and especially around this age group, but you do kind of notice it in high schools or where there are these sort of mass casualty events or mass events. Suddenly everyone was best friends with them. Like they hung out all the time.
Well, and also this one seems like a more credible witness. I mean, I like this witness. And the reason I say that is because she was like, she's pointing out what she noticed. She's not adding her own suppositions in there. She was like, I know she had a boyfriend, but I couldn't tell you who he was. She's not guessing. She's saying, well, she seemed like she'd been drinking, but didn't seem like she was trashed or anything like that. And and she did hear that there was someone creepy, but I mean, she doesn't know anything more than that. She's not making guesses or anything like that. And then she says that she watched the Twitch video and she saw someone she didn't recognize. Good morning, Mark, Betty. But, she didn't recognize them. And had she probably would have said, and it seemed like this was this person, but she didn't make any of those. I mean, this is actually the kind of witness that you want to have.
Also good to kind of gauge because, they were at a club. How drunk were they? I mean, were they, Canton level sober? Were they Sarah Boone level sober? I mean, where in the Schrodinger's drunk / not drunk spectrum were they? Because it would also explain whether, they would be more inclined to fight. I mean, your inhibition is lowered. Would you be more inclined to maybe fight? Would you be more inclined to be asleep? What would you be doing?
That's something I hadn't really thought about. But yeah, that does make sense that, and like I said, she's a really good witness. Even if she didn't have anything, she can eliminate a lot of different possibilities,
Yeah. Well,
Like
and it also corroborates, it follows the same general story everyone's had. So you have everyone kind of giving the same general timeline.
Right. And
And this,
I really like seeing this, and and that's the thing. If you're a witness to a crime, and don't make wild guesses. Say exactly what you saw, and if you come at it as this aspect of like, listen, I looked at the video, I didn't recognize the person. Or if you did recognize the person, go, yeah, it looked like it might be this person, but I can't be sure because I never saw their face or anything like that. But don't try to make guesses or, well, I think it was Jim Bob down the street because, you know, he has the crazy eyes with those crazy eyes, you know, it
Or
had to
there's
be
this
him.
guy in my trig class who's really weird. Like he breathes heavy and he has a pocket protector.
Yeah, those things don't do any good. Those are horrible witnesses. I'm
Well, I
liking the
mean,
witnesses that they've gotten so far.
on that note, I believe that the civil case against the YouTube psychic who continually kept going on this thing about one of the professors at, I think, University of Idaho having something to do with
Uh,
this crime, her case is still winding through court.
Good. I hope she
Yes.
suffers because of that crap. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. I didn't say that out loud. But you know, if you
Well,
start in on
but
this kind of
yeah,
crap, you know that this is what aggravates me so much about you know these. And I'm not saying as a whole. I'm saying the people that are like this that want to make these wild guesses that are facts, not in evidence. It's like you're making wild claims about shit that is in your own twisted little head. Sorry, not going to listen to you. And you're muddying up the water because you want some sort of fame or something. Like go kiss some
well,
dong.
yeah, not to mention that, you know, again, you had the food truck guy, you had then the professor. These are accusations that can ruin your life even years later, even though they've caught Bryan Kohberger.
Right. Yeah. They've caught him. They've got him, you know, all, you know, buttoned up, and he's admitted to what he's done. You okay?
Yeah, I was just making sure
Ah,
we were getting ready for school, so I was
I
trying to
got you.
make sure everyone was, you know, the
Safe.
normal, yeah, the normal, you know, quiet cadence of I am taking a shower. Are you using soap? You know, that
I love that.
don't be too peanut butter and jealous of my glamorous life.
Well, and this is just about phones here. There's nothing in this particular one.
No, I didn't. Let's see here.
And yeah, this is just more of just collecting evidence.
So yeah, these were the swabs, and it looks like they did do extensive swabbing on all the victims because this is just for each individual person
Right. In
going
case they
through.
could pull DNA that's out of the ordinary.
Yeah, so gonna go all the way through. They also took looks like they took prints.
And they identified where the wounds were. That's what it
Yeah.
looks like. And we don't have to read through that. That's a
Yeah,
little
no.
gruesome.
Yeah, and I will say these have been made public. If it is something that's important for you to go and learn where all of these wounds were, we've gone into it as much as I think we're going to go into it with
Yeah.
what we did in the first stream. So it was gruesome, you guys. It
Yeah.
just was.
And we don't need
It
to go into all the every single gruesome detail, because yes, there was a lot that happened, and unless it's part of
I'm
what might be, you know, for example, we might talk a little bit about the knife, but you know, other than that, you know, there's no need to go into these.
yeah, that's and you know, no shame on other YouTubers that want to do that. I'm just not personal. It's your comfort level, and I'm not comfort. I want us to remember, well, it's not my jam, to be honest.
No,
This looks like security footage. So the University of Idaho turned over all of their safety and security footage of the campus.
oh that would be a lot of information. It looks like they found a couple of cigarette butts. They had chain of custody, and just labeling them for later. But other than that, there's nothing there. Just more evidence.
Um, Guilty as in we believe in guilt as a concept, or as in Bryan Kohberger is guilty, which he pled to.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means.
Because yes, I believe he is guilty
Or
because he
are you
pled
asking
guilty.
are you asking if the psychic was a guilty channel? I'm not sure.
But yes, I do believe that Bryan Kohberger is guilty. I was waiting for the trial though, so
Yeah.
I'll be very honest that I didn't get very deep into this case because I wanted to be one of the few channels that hadn't, kind of gone through the whole thing and had, my mind made up about
Yeah.
it. I kind of wanted to just go through and see what the trial was going to show us.
Yeah, what the prosecution, what the defense was,
Ooh.
But now that he's pled guilty to it, yes, I guess you could say that both Mo and I are in the same aspect of, he's guilty. He claimed his guilt. He pled his guilt, which, you have to remember it does two things. It moves forward and there's a possibility that Bryan might have thought, hey, this will give the families a little bit of peace. They don't have to go through a long drawn out trial. Or it could have been that he just didn't want to talk about it. So I don't know.
And I mean, there is the other point that it's very likely that he was looking to avoid the death penalty. Again, he might be playing the long game. This is as far as I'll go with speculation. But look at the Menendez brothers. I mean, look at, Susan Smith. She's never going to get parole, but she's getting up to where she's getting parole. So a lot of these cases that, well, sorry to miss. I mean, we are what we are.
Oh. Have a good one, Mark and Betty.
All the best. That being said, I will say that I don't even know where my train of thought was. It was there.
You were saying that, the oh God, now I lost my train of thought.
So the Menendez brothers.
Yes,
So
Menendez
again,
brothers.
he might be playing a long game if he has criminology background that, based on political shifts, he could be looking to see if Idaho will roll the dice on becoming more liberal and into criminal justice reform that would take, his life without the possibility of parole. Maybe parole is a human right in 20 years.
Could be. And he could be out by the time he's, what was he, 20, in his 20s, 30s? Bryan was in his 20s or 30s, something like that. So, 20 years from now, he's still in his 40s. He could easily get out. Maybe. Never know.
Yeah, or it might have been that basically his lawyer said, look, all the things that we've been trying, and I know there was a lot of talk about, kind of the motions that the defense was trying to throw out there to get the genealogy DNA thrown out, to get the sheath thrown out, to get a lot of different things thrown out. And I think that's something that when you first get into trials, you don't realize how much of a trial is actually predetermined by the motions in limine,
Right.
by what can and can't be brought in by trial. And I think that's something that is kind of interesting to learn. But also with these big cases, I like to just go in with what the jury's going to know.
Right. And that's the best way to go into it. On November 21st, 2022, at approximately 11:57, I was asked by Captain Barrett to follow up on a possible lead on the King Road homicide case. I was told a Mexican drug dealer with the moniker C was possibly selling drugs to several
Chapo,
fraternities.
I've solved the case.
Exactly. The fraternities and sororities on the University of Idaho campus had told Barrett that I would contact several of my contacts to see if anyone knew of Chapo. At approximately 12 o'clock, I began contacting my fellow Quad City Drug Task Force, Brett Damon, Colby, Bryson. None of them had heard of Chapo selling cocaine in the Quad Cities. At 11, they just messed up this guy's little deal that he had going on. He was like, man.
No, it was like, Chad Daybell. It was Chado.
It's like, man,
Chado Dias.
I was making good money off these college kids. It was like cut really thin. There was hardly any cocaine. It was mostly baby powder.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. It was mostly baking powder.
Mostly baking powder. It's mostly baby aspirin, but that man, they'll do anything, and they'll think they're getting high. It's psychological, man.
Look, most of it was Splenda. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, come on. None of the detectives have heard of him, and so they reached out, and but they said they would reach out to other agencies around the area. Spoke to a few people, said they never heard of him selling cocaine in the area. Said he would contact me if he heard anything. And I'm still waiting to see if any information can be found about him. Other than that, sort of a dead end. Yeah, it's probably just some, college age student, or it could be even somebody older that lives in the neighborhood and can get a hold of some
Look,
drugs.
it's a ginger guy with dreads. We all know the college town has one. His like Kyle, but his Pastafarian name is, like hashish.
Yeah, and the only reason he looks dark is because he rubs dirt on his face to look
Because
like
the
he's
freckles
homeless.
have connected.
Exactly.
They're like, dude, you're tan. And he's like, no, my freckles all connected.
Yeah.
They're like, so still better.
Dark redhead. I mean, I think Mo froze up on me. Shucks. I hope she's not getting storms. We'll see here shortly, folks, if she comes back. She's frozen up and she is chilling out. So let's interact with you guys just a little bit so that way we can see what chat has got going on. And it happens twice a day. It only happens a day and once a night. Good morning from the UK, Mark and Betty. Mark and Betty says, is this a guilty channel? Okay, bye. It's a shame. 7, I was watching in the UK.
Okay.
Bye. You're back. Good. I still have
Yeah,
video.
I was like, computer, don't quit on me now.
I don't think the computer quit on you. I still have video of Jesse Vang driving a car showing Elijah View is offered on 52. I told the captain I have no legal obligation to help them. The long game. Yes, half Irish. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh.
I'm just getting back to where we were.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Go further. Go further.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, this was
And
civil rights
keep going.
investigation.
Keep going. Thumb drives, keep going. More thumb drives, more evidence. And more
this is where we
evidence.
get into the K bar.
Okay. So eBay shows no purchases for a K-bar full-size U.S. Marine Corps fighting. So they examine the files. eBay showing user IDs, but
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought to look on eBay first. I guess I would have thought to look on Amazon first.
well, eBay is older and it can fly under the radar a little bit more, but they're not seeing anything on eBay. But that's for them.
Makes sense.
And then we go to, let's see. There were user as these are user IDs associated with a knife sheath purchased before or after the 13th. I'm requesting assistance. He's just basically saying
Okay.
this is the information that they asked for whenever they contacted eBay.
Uh-huh.
So nothing nefarious there. Just asking around. On the 13th, I responded to King Road, Moscow, in an attempt to interrogate a wireless router located at the residence. Wireless router, what were you doing on the night of the wireless router? Just
The
sat there and
wireless
didn't
router
respond
was
to me.
like, look, it was stormy that night. I was going in and out, man. I totally blacked out. Like it was full power down mode.
After arrival, I used an Ethernet cable and I whipped that thing into shape. I said, you will tell me all your secrets. I connected my laptop to the local area port, the LAN port on the back of the Spectrum Wi-Fi router with a serial number. The router then provided my laptop with an IP address and a gateway IP, which resolved to the router. I attempted to locate the web-based management portal for the device, but was prompted to download their damned app and use the account username and password. I contacted Spectrum and I bitched them out. That took hours. I then called the Charter law enforcement response team and spoke with a representative, trying to ascertain if Charter or Spectrum could retrieve the data from the router via their diagnostic portal. Well, after several
God.
days and phone calls to Charter, I came up with absolutely nothing. No, I spoke with TD, the manager for the Legal Response Operations Center, stated her team was working on verifying if the hardware was even able to be accessed. I again called Charter on the 17th, left a voicemail, returned to my phone. Of course, I was told she would have her technician retry and preserve the data.
Oh, for God's sake.
I again called Charter, left a voicemail. This sounds like a regular deal with it whenever I had to deal with cable internet.
This does sound pretty
Well,
apropos for everything.
yeah.
Like, yes, I did wait 10 seconds and I blew into the cartridge before I put it back into the Nintendo 64.
Did you unplug the router and plug it back in? Well, I couldn't see the plug. Well, why? Well, because the power is out.
As tech support dumb as I am, at least I've never called for that particular reason.
I've had people call me for that reason. Like somebody called me up. You were just at their house and you replaced the router and they have no internet. I was like, all right. I show back up and the whole house is powered down because somebody hit a telephone pole and knocked out the power. I was like, yeah, there's nothing I can do. And they're like, oh, you just don't want to work on it? I was like, no, seriously, there's nothing I can do. You have no power to the house. Like,
Busy, go work on those lines.
like there's a car down there. Well, it's actually a truck. I said, there's a truck down there that hit a telephone pole and knocked it over into the street. Okay. The whole block has no power. I can't do anything. Whenever the power comes back on, if it doesn't sync back up, call me. I'll come back out. November 11th, 2022, I was informed there was a problem with their cloud services, go figure, that resulted in the data loss for November 8th through the 10th. I informed shit, and I would be applying for a warrant requesting that data with the legal process. From my training experience, I know wireless routers allow wireless devices, phones, tablets, to connect to them for access to the internet or other devices on the LAN. During this process, after a device is successfully connected to the router, a log of this connection and the specific MAC address of each device is kept on the device. If a user previously selected the connect automatically setting while connecting to the wireless router, which is a common default setting, device will connect to the router automatically without any user input. So and this is true if you've ever had a laptop that you travel with, for example, and you go to another location, you have to put in your user information, then you come back home and magically it just connects to your Wi-Fi. That's why, because it just automatically recognizes
I'm always
the
amazed my
device.
phone knows when I get to my house because the Wi-Fi comes back on. I'm like, my phone is so smart.
It's so smart. It's just, well, it's your router is what's smart. It's the one that remembers.
Look, one of my children is an honor roller, and that's all we got to say about that one.
He's a baller. These devices would have to be in close proximity of the router to be shown on the MAC address log. The data previously stored on the router located at King Road and preserved by Charter Spectrum may show individual MAC addresses of those devices. If the suspect had previously connected the wireless router was in close proximity to the wireless router located in the residence, the device may have automatically connected, this is pretty solid thinking, good police work.
I wouldn't have thought of this, but then again, this is not my milieu. But it's really smart because if, let's say it hadn't been Bryan and it was someone else who hung out at the house, that wouldn't be something that would be top of mind. Like, hey, I need to leave my phone at home, or I need to make sure it's on airplane mode so it doesn't try to hook up to the wireless internet.
Well, it's not something that you would be concerned with. But even if it was, for example, if it was another person, and it was known to these people, then his connection or her connection or their connection would have shown up almost instantly as soon as they got within range of it, because it would have just automatically connected to it. It would have logged it in there and said, that this MAC address was connected to it, this cell phone was connected to it. And if he's got those records, he can say, listen, I've got the iPad, I've got the laptops, I've got the cell phones. All of these MAC addresses match up with what was here already. I don't see anything abnormal coming in, but all of a sudden I see this one come in at 1:30 in the morning, and it doesn't leave until like 4 o'clock whenever it logs out of it. So what happened between 1 and 4? Who owns this MAC address? And then you would be able to like find who that person was, or it would give you a closer idea. For example, if you picked up,
Rando.
Some Edgecombe, like over on the side of the road, and he had a K-bar, and then you could say, hey, we're going to secure your phone, and then you look up and you see what the MAC address is, and then all of a sudden it matches up with it, and you're like, this is the person that did it, because look, their MAC address lines up with it that particular time period, and he has no explanation for where he was at. I think we found our guy. So all of you little true crimers out there you go.
Yep.
Well, he was
The
granted
internet
warrant.
will always catch you.
Yes. I received an email from M stating that the files were ready to download, and I completed the warrant, filled out the receipt affidavit. They were sent to M. The prosecutor's office returned to the court. Also emailed a copy of the receipt to Charter, and this was the originating email address. There you go.
Very good. Let's see. On November 17th, 2022, J.D. was interviewed by
Jack
Sergeant
Daniels.
this might be Kaylee's boyfriend who they had broken up, but they were still good.
We'll just say Jack Daniels. How's that? Man, Jack Daniels, he's interviewed by Sergeant Matthew Van Leeuwen. He was really close.
At that time, he provided his phone to Sergeant Van Leeuwen along with consent to search the phone. Now, the phone is an iPhone XR with something or other, and it was transported to Coeur d'Alene Police Department's forensic lab in Coeur d'Alene, oddly enough. Coeur d'Alene in Cincinnati, Ohio.
No, it's Idaho.
Well, I know, but I love how
Closer
they
to Coeur
say
d'Alene.
to the Coeur d'Alene Police Department located in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I was like, well, I hope it's not located in, Columbus,
Cincinnati.
Ohio.
That would suck.
I applied for and was granted a search warrant to access the contents of the phone. The phone was to be extracted by Detective Dustin Taylor of the Coeur d'Alene Police Department.
Did he have it in his prison pocket? Is that why it had to be extracted?
I hope not. Look, after the Karen Reed, if I never have to hear the word infotainment or celebrate ever again, I'm still trying to figure out what headscarf lady was talking about with the pancake waffle biscuit bacon,
Munchenegger.
analogy that she made. Let's see. So they did do a, copy, and that was taken on November 17th. On November 18th, while confirming Detective Taylor received the warrant, I was informed that the phone was no longer at the Coeur d'Alene Police Department. Idaho State Police Lieutenant Paul Blart.
It's Burger.
Burger. And he's like, look, but I'm not a Kohberger, okay? We don't talk to that part of the family no more around here.
I'm a hamburger. I'm a hamburger man.
He had picked up the phone from Taylor and delivered it to Spokane County Sheriff's Office, where investigative analyst VJ had received it. Why the hell are they taking it to 20 different people?
Well, because they probably don't have the capabilities of doing it. But at least
Coeur d'Alene
they're
is
keeping
the
a good chain
capital,
of
isn't it?
custody. I don't know.
Or is it Boise, Idaho?
I think Boise is. I mean, that's more well known. But
It's
at
been
least
a long time since fourth grade geography where you had to learn all the state capitals.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. I mean, well, and it's also good that they're showing that they're going down through each one of these, and they've got a good chain of custody. You know,
Yeah, especially with as many agencies as were involved, because then I think you had not only Idaho, but then you had Washington once, Kohberger was actually identified as a person of interest. Then you had, I think, the FBI for a bit because they had better either resources or experiences in pulling multiple search warrants and things like that.
Right.
Let's see here.
Idaho police did.
On,
Richardson received the phone, and then
oh, yeah, okay. Richardson received the phone from the forensic lab and delivered the phone to D, mother, per the attorney's wishes. Now, on November 21st, Detective Anderson of the Idaho State Police provided Sergeant Van Welven with a USB drive containing the extraction. Now, the sergeant then provided the USB drive to me, and it was placed into the secure forensic lab at Moscow Police Department. An examination will be completed at my earliest convenience. Since the warrant was not served, I did not complete a warrant return receipt as nothing was collected. There you go.
oh man,
Same. Let's be real. I only know my state capital because I live here.
yeah. We know the state capital in Georgia used to be Augusta,
Yeah. Or no, wait.
Savannah. I think it
Well,
was Savannah.
I
at
was
some
over here
point in time.
thinking, well, my internal dialogue was not that smart because I was over here, what is Atlanta's capital? And I was like, Georgia. And I was like, no, I think that's
Backwards. Which is Georgia's
backwards.
capital?
And
Atlanta.
then my really dumb part of my brain was like, I think it's Alabama. And the other part of my brain was like, that's a state, you idiot. So welcome as I have 900 voices inside my head.
Oh, I love them. I love them all.
I've gotten used to them.
I was directed to interview potential witnesses. And so on 11/13/2022, DM was interviewed in regards to a homicide investigation. D said she was a resident of the house where the incident occurred. D said she was at a sex party at around 10:30 because they got blacked out. I can make up shit where she was
Pretty
drinking.
much.
D said she went to sex house. D said she believes she arrived home between 3 and 1.
So
Oh,
no, it would be
oh,
12:30 and 1.
Yeah, 12:30 and 1.
Hey, these are the only numbers I'm an expertologist
Sorry, I
in
was
the
just-
24 hour.
I was like 1:30 and 1. I was like, okay, that's backwards. She thought that B arrived home around 20 minutes after she got there. D said she believed Maddie and Kaylee arrived home around 1:30 or 2. Said that nothing weird happened during the night. She said that her friend L came home, followed by B from the sex party. D said that D lived in the sex house and B was her roommate at the residence. D said that when Maddie, Mogan, and Kaylee came home from the corner club at the same time, and everyone, well, they went to bed. Maybe not together, but they went to bed. Well, D asked about the layout of her house, and D said that Kaylee's room was directly above her room. She said she lived on the second floor. Well, my name is Luca. I live on the second. And Kaylee lived on the third floor. D said Kaylee and Maddie both lived upstairs on the third floor in separate rooms. D said Zane lived closest to the bathroom on the second floor and lived on the first floor. B lived on the first floor. When asked about Murphy, D said, well, that's a dog. It's owned in common between Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend, JD. Jack Danielson said there was no apparent issues between Kaylee, and Jack Daniels said Maddie had a boyfriend named Jack Squat, who was in Boise at the time of the incident. D indicated, and Zana was dating Ethan Chapin, who was in the room with her at the time of the incident. D did not know of anyone who would want to hurt Ethan. And when she was asked, D said, I saw any cars in the air that should not be there. No, I was not really looking at that. D said she woke up around 4, like no self-awareness of what's going on around her. Most college students.
I mean, I would, again, at a college student, usually aren't a true crimer and haven't watched your weight in Law and Crime Special Victims Unit. So you don't do that little perusal around all your windows and make sure your door's double locked because your mom had you watching all them Lifetime movies.
Exactly. Because you're wanting to be unlocked because they're Lifetime movies. You know, you're keeping it unlocked because you know. Oh, I was thinking Hallmark Channel, different kind of.
Yeah, no.
Where
It's
she
the
could
Red
be
Shoe Diaries you keep unlocked.
the dog, where she could be Kaylee and Murphy, the dog dancing. Dee said she knew it was Kaylee because she recognized her voice and could hear Murphy barking. Dee said she heard Kaylee go upstairs and say, "There's someone here." Dee said she thought he heard Kaylee run back down the stairs. Dee said Kaylee sounded scared when she made this statement. Dee said at this time she jumped up, locked the door because she did not know what else to do. Dee said she called out Kaylee's name and did not indicate if she got a response. Dee said she then tried to call Kaylee, Zaina, and Maddie on their phones. Dee was asked if she saw anyone come downstairs or heard anything. Dee said, "No, I don't even know how they got in. We're usually pretty good about locking doors and never had problems before. It was just really random." When asked about the series of events, Dee said she opened the door when she cried out to Kaylee, then closed the door because she was scared. Dee said she then opened the door again and heard who she thought was Kaylee, but could have been Zaina crying in the bathroom. Dee said she then heard a man's voice said, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Dee said it was weird because the statement was not in a nice way and the voice was one she'd never heard before. Dee said she called out to Kaylee again and there was no crying after, and she did not know what happened after that. Dee said she opened the door again and the guy is right there. Dee described him as a male, as approximately her height, 5'10", or a few inches taller, not skinny but an athletic build. Said the suspect was wearing all black with masks that covered just his forehead and goes around his face. Showed with her hands the mask exposed his nose but covered the mouth area. Dee said she believed the suspect was white but did not remember eyebrow color or what his eyes looked like. Dee said when she saw the suspect, he saw her and just left. Dee said she believed he was holding something near his stomach or belt line. Dee used both hands to point straight out from her abdomen, then moved her hands apart back together to simulate a bulge. Dee said the area was black in color and she thought now maybe it was a gun. Said the unknown object had an arrow shape, seemed really unsure, and said she was tired during the event. Dee was asked how long she believed it was from the time Kaylee said someone is here to when she saw the suspect, and she said she thought it was about 10 or 20 minutes. Dee went on to say she was in and out of it. She did not fully remember the incident. Dee was asked where the suspect was at in the residence, and when Dee saw him, she said the suspect was between her bedroom door and the kitchen. Dee said she remembered watching the suspect go out the kitchen door and leave. Said at this time she closed her door and locked it as fast as she could. Said the suspect did not walk towards her or say anything. Dee said once the suspect left, she immediately called B. Dee said B informed her she heard a sound and that sounded like a firework. Dee then said she told B. She called everyone and they're not answering. Dee said she was in and out of it and believed everyone was just asleep. Dee said she went to B's room, locked the door, and went to bed. Dee said she woke up at around 11 or 12 and called her roommates and no one answered. Sorry. And she called B.
Well, it looks like H. So
Yeah.
it looks like she called someone completely different.
We'll just say Hal. Hal
Yeah.
came to the residence. He went upstairs and told Dee they needed to call law enforcement immediately. Dee was asked if there was anything else she wanted to share. Dee said the noise. B described the noise as a loud boom, but Dee did not hear it. Dee was asked if any of her roommates shared any weird experiences in the last couple of weeks or calls or texts. Dee said, no, it's been all normal, nothing weird at all. Nothing really weird happens in Moscow. Usually when asked if there were any altercations in the sex party, Dee said, no, everything was normal. Dee mentioned again that she was with Dee and Zaina at the party. Dee was asked if anyone was having sexual relationships with anyone they shouldn't be. Dee said no. Dee brought up an incident which occurred about a month prior. Dee said she and B remembered Kaylee saw a shadow while she was taking Murphy outside. I'm assuming that's what it means. Dee said Kaylee also mentioned when she was at something 2 or 3 weeks prior, an individual was following her. Dee also said she arrived home one time and the residence was found open. Dee said she did not believe the slider door was locked the night of 11/12. Dee said that she did hear Murphy barking a lot around 4. When Kaylee went upstairs, Dee said she heard Murphy go outside barking as well. Dee was unsure if Murphy would chase a suspect outside. Dee said she did not remember if the suspect who ran left the slider door open. Another interview.
And so what I will say is this makes a lot more sense. Hearing it from the roommate, and again, you've got to think this roommate is just fresh out of her parents' house. So even if you grow up in a single parent home or maybe with an aunt or an uncle or that kind of thing, as a kid, as a teen, usually you're not the one that goes to check on the scary sound. It's your parents. And this would probably be the first time that this would be, expected to be her to go check on the scary sound. And, we can all play armchair psychologist and psychiatrist, but I can be very honest that if this was the first time I heard and saw something that scary, I wasn't feeling good, as we learned in the victim impact statements, that she was, I think, highly medicated. She'd also been drinking. I mean, and if you don't want to believe that anything really bad happened, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to lock the door. And, drunk kid fashion, it'll all be good in the morning. Like this will all be different in the morning.
Yeah. And especially after reading that, I could see exactly what you're talking about. And I can imagine that, she's not thinking coherently. And like you, and I really didn't think about that until you said it. It's like, this is a kid fresh out of high school that's going into college, and mom and dad are usually the one that check the doors. Mom and dad are the one that are usually saying, hey, what was that noise? I heard a thump. I heard a boom. I heard a crash. Something fell. And I'd never really thought about that until you said it. It's just like, I can imagine me probably at about 12 hearing a noise, even if it was like my parents arguing or something like that. And you just sort of block it out and go, well, that's normal. I'm just going to do my thing and go to sleep, and things will be, I'll figure out what it was in the morning.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. I think that this makes a lot of sense. And we're all looking at this from the hindsight of,
adulthood
of, well, I would do blah, 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 blah. When the truth is, we probably would have done the same thing given all the circumstances.
And age.
Because let's be real, she probably heard a lot more than she can remember she heard.
Yeah.
And if you hear those noises and you're not feeling well, you are scared. And she was maybe banking on Ethan being able to take care of stuff.
Right.
Hey, there's Ethan's here, even if there is a creepy person, he can run him out, or Murphy, the dog.
Even if it is a little dog, you don't differentiate between it. You hear a loud boom or something like that. It could just simply be, you probably hear that all the time in a college dorm. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, because I had roommates whenever I was a musician, that roommates would come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, doors would be slamming, things would be, you'd hear noises, and you would just go, it's normal house noise. Everybody gets home at 3 o'clock. Someone is firing up the freaking oven or something like that. They're going to be cooking something. Refrigerator doors are going to be slammed. Someone just dropped a bottle of beer on the floor and it busted open. You could excuse these things in your mind. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would have called the cops. And I mean, and I'm looking at this as, as being ex-military, sitting in a house full of 7 roommates, So you got
Yeah.
8 people living in this massive house. Some of them are boyfriend, girlfriend. So you would hear people argue. You would hear
Yeah.
doors being slammed. You would hear, what sounded like it could be a violent argument. And then you walk into the room and you realize that they're just laughing at the TV. These are normal sounds of college age students, especially at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning where they've been out partying. You're going to hear all kinds of noises.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, I'll be the first one to admit, I thought it was suspicious as hell when we didn't know a lot of this backstory that the roommate never called. Why? And I think that, again, there is a level to which people have gotten very comfortable with being keyboard warriors. So I can understand it being sus, like, I wonder if they're going to be able to explain this in the trial. I don't understand sending this, young person actually like to her Facebook or Instagram or whatever the hell she has messages and
Mm-mm.
how dare yous. That's the part that I think people have gotten really ballsy in the internet age.
Yeah, there would be no reason for that. I mean, if I was to send her anything, it'd be just like, I'm sorry that you had to experience the loss of your friends. I mean, that would be the extent of it. But I mean, I wouldn't even do that because
No.
I have no ties to this person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I don't know you as a person. I wouldn't, but I'm never inclined to even fight with people on, TikTok or Twitter. So
Or Twitter, TikTok or Twitter. I don't fight with
w-
anybody.
yeah, I don't fight with people on the internet.
No, she doesn't. So we'll continue on here and then we'll probably end it after this.
Yeah,
You
we'll
think that's
probably
right?
end after this one.
She thought she heard something was not right in her house. Also, she heard or saw a man in her house the night prior. Asked E if H had come over and make sure everything was okay because she locked herself in B room. H said he was the first person to get to the residence. H said that he entered the code to the front door where B and D were in B's room on the first
Wait,
floor.
so Shizzy, if this is around, so the roommate said she got up around 11, 12.
Yeah,
This would explain the front door being open because if H ran in there and he's like, oh shit, okay, no, we definitely need to call the cops.
right.
And he didn't really want to tell D exactly what was up there. He's like, no, they're unresponsive. So
Like,
that could explain the kind of disconnect between we've got an unresponsive and then the cop walks in and he's like, what the fuck is this?
yeah, this is not just an unresponsive. This is bad. And he might have done that to basically shield her a little bit too.
Yeah, and that makes a lot more sense and kind of does explain. It makes logical sense that if you're the guy that she says like, hey, you know, uh,
B's not
okay,
answering her. Kaylee's not answering her door.
yeah, yeah,
And she doesn't even open the door. She does open the door and it's just like something's not right, but it doesn't process. And he shows up and sees that, oh my God, this is bad. And she's already like starting to like phase out of whatever the hell's going on. Like it hasn't even hit her yet. The last thing he wants to do is have her go into hysterics. So I could see where he'd be just like, we have
well, and
unresponsives.
to cope himself, I mean,
Yeah,
because I
could
know I
be.
adopt a very calm sort of, especially like if my kids are hurt or things like that, I go into a very calm place even when I am freaking out, just because
Yeah.
I know that they're looking to me to be the calm one, and I'm always looking for another adult to adult me. I'm like, what the hell is
H said he went up the stairs, immediately went to Zaina's room and said it was the only room he went into. Said he approached the door, it was partially open. H said when he opened, he saw Zaina and Ethan. H said he initially did not realize all the blood was dried blood in the room. H said he thought at first they had been drunk and left a mess. He said he stood there for a moment. He began to realize, so it's taken a while for him to recognize what he's looking at. what he was seeing. H said that B and D were uncontrollably crying. H said he told them to get out of the house, call law enforcement. Then he said he went to the kitchen, grabbed a knife from the drawer. Yeah, that's what I would do. And then
I
he
mean,
went to the
yeah, I
room,
would too.
checked the closet, make sure that there was not anyone else in the room. He said he checked for a pulse on both Zane and Ethan. He said both bodies had rigor mortis, were cold with no breath pulse. That's so sad. H said he believed the two had been deceased for a while. He said he believed he left the knife on the folding table in the living room. He said B and J and D started to enter the house and come up the stairs. H told them, get out of the house. H said that this was
H
about
is a solid person. I mean,
yeah.
again, to have the wherewithal to, I need to check the closets. I need to arm myself. I'm going to check for a pulse, any vital signs.
And noticing that they're cold, like they're
And then to keep everyone else from contaminating the scene. I
well,
mean,
and I don't think it was he probably wasn't even realizing he was keeping them from contaminating the scene, but he was like, get out of the house, because he didn't want them to see it. Like there's nothing you can do, and just go outside, because he probably saw how gruesome it was. He did not know if anyone else was upstairs, and he hadn't gone anywhere else in the house. Said he had trouble comprehending what he was seeing. He said he was not at the sex party the night prior. H said that he and Ethan were texting the night prior by phone. H said Ethan wanted him to come over, but H chose not to. H said he knew Ethan since the fall of 21, said he was in something and Ethan was a member of something else. H indicated J and E were at the same sorority and were roommates. H said L, who was also present, was at the fraternity. He's basically just giving names. Indicated he was last at the residence on 11/12, where he was pre-gaming for the Vandals football game. Said he got to the residence around a certain time, left another time to go to a different party. Said that was the last time that he was at that house.
yeah, so he was out of the house by 2 in the afternoon.
12th. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did not know of anyone who had any issues with E and Zane and dating. E estimated Zane and Ethan were dating for at least 8 months. That's not abnormal. Said he knew Zane very well through his girlfriend. H said he was not very familiar with Maddie or Kaylee. He probably saw him, but was like, didn't know him. H allowed pictures to be taken of his phone of the conversations between him and Ethan. And then there's interview 3. J said she texted Ethan at 11:20 on the morning.
No, so J said she texted B.
B at 11:20 hours on the morning. Asked if she was awake. J said B called her back at 11:49. B told J that she and L were in B's room. J said B was freaked out because her roommates were not answering the phone. J said she heard D on the phone in the background saying, I saw something. J said B asked her to come over to the house, pick her up. J said B texted her while she was driving there, and she said B and H were on their way as well. J said she was arriving. As she arrived, MPD units were arriving as well. J said she did not go to the same sex party as the others, but went to a different one instead, and said B and D came to this other party after she left. Estimated D left her party around 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, 12:30, left her party at 1. Said she was in somewhere with D, L, and B and Zaina. J said Zaina and Maddie were both in another sorority, but the dropped out. Kaylee was in another sorority, but dropped out as well. J suspected the girls dropped their respective sororities because of issues with other girls in the houses. J specifically cited girls on the executive board who tell other members what to specifically cited girls on the executive.
What girls having girl issues.
Girls having girl issues. Suspected she was why they did not like. J confirmed she, L, and D were still active members in sorority or fraternity. J said that the girls were still active members of the sorority who chose not to live in the house, did so because of money issues. J said Maddie was B's big sister in the sorority house. J said she knew Kaylee saw a dark figure staring at her from a tree line when she took her dog Murphy out to pee. J said this occurred about a month ago. Jay said that there had been a lighthearted talk and jokes made about a stalker in the past. Jay said all the girls were slightly nervous about it being a fact, though. Jay did not indicate any social media issues or issues between the girls who lived together. Jay said that there was no issues with girls from the sorority, and the residents at the house said the front door had issues with the locking and sometimes it could not be opened without a code. Jay said that he did not know the code to the front door. Jay said she was unsure if the residents kept a back sliding door locked regularly. Interview 4. Wow. Elle said she did not go to the sex party. Elle said she went to sleep at 2. I'm sorry, that would be
8.
8, thank you. At Jay's party on Taylor Avenue. Elle said she woke up around 2 or 3. Said she and Jay and Ethan were up talking and indicating that B was present but not awake during this time. Okay. D said, I was like, was present but not awake. I was like, awake but not present at this time. I was like, how stoned were you? Elle said that they all went to bed at this time and woke up again around what he thought was about 9 o'clock in the morning. Elle said H and E came to the room where he and Jay were. Elle said Elle had called E around 10, sounded scared. Elle said D told E someone had been in her house last night. D said D. And B ran downstairs and locked themselves in a room. D said D informed them that she did this because of her seeing someone in the house and L could only see his nose and chin. L said D was freaking out, wanted them to come over to the house. L said she walked with E, J to the King Road from J apartment of Taylor Avenue. D said D and B walked out of the house crying. L said H arrived to the residence first because he left before them. L said he went to the downstairs door, told him not to come up the stairs, said he did not know Ethan very well, said he did not recall any talk between Zaina and Jay about boy issues, said he did not see anything on social media, recalled an incident from about a month prior where D said there was a guy stalking her. L said he did not hear anything from the police or anything from the night prior. So those would probably be videoed interviews, and hopefully, those remain sealed.
Yeah, and again, I hope this reminds the true crime community, although I'm tangentially related, let's maybe wait for the trial or wait for some of this information to come out before we try to figure out why someone did something, didn't do something, didn't act the way we think they should.
Right.
Because I think, it's a good reminder that we don't know all the
You're not Sherlock
facts.
Holmes. You're not Sherlock Holmes. As much as you would love to be, you're not Sherlock Holmes. And you're not going to solve a case with limited information that you're going to be given.
Yeah, and just to take a couple minutes to breathe. I mean, I know on Mornings with Mo, when there's a big story like, the Devil's Den, Arkansas case, or any of the ones recently, I will tell you guys, look, I'm giving you a very short run. This is all the information they have. And in a couple days, when it percolates, I'll come back and give you the information, because honestly, a lot of the times, initial reports are going to either be inaccurate or, not as accurate as they could be if you just waited a couple minutes.
Exactly. And I mean, there was, and I take that back to whenever I was doing much more active morning shows. I believe that there was discussion of somebody had shot up someplace, and the suspicion was that it was, I'm trying to think of what exactly it was, that there was multiple assassins that shot at the president, and that he was shot in the head, but they didn't have any information on it. And it turns out that it was a lone shooter, and they sort of parsed it all out. And I told everybody, I was like, I don't know all the details of this. And as soon as I know, I'll report on. I'm not making any speculations. I can't make any speculations on this or what exactly happened to the president other than It looks like he might have been hit, but I can't tell you where, or maybe just grazed him because there wasn't a whole lot of information. And waited to see what information was coming out. It was same, and I didn't cover because I wasn't on YouTube at the time during the um, the election prior to that.
Yeah.
Where there was people walking into the Capitol. I did not cover any of that, but had I covered it, because I did what everybody else did, and I watched to see what exactly was going on. It seemed like it was much bigger than it actually was. Whenever you got the 30,000 foot view is actually a small isolated incident. But if you would have been
Yeah.
listening to the major news channels, it sounded like all of Washington was rioting and, it was all white power or something. Because that's the way they presented it. It looked like it
Yeah.
was much more than it actually was. But
Well,
once you
and
got the 30,000 foot view, you're like, it's not like DC is going to burn down.
yeah, and that's the whole thing that I think, if anything, we've learned in big cases like this to wait for the dust to settle. And I can see the parents. Look, if my child was taken from me in the way that these parents' child were taken from them, no cop is working hard enough to solve this.
Right.
So I can understand and even sympathize with some of the parents who, even to the detriment of the investigation, were trying to get things out there because they didn't feel like the police were doing enough of a job.
And after reading this, you realize, no, they were actually doing quite a bit, but they're not releasing all the information because they don't want to
Yeah.
give information away. They don't want to let people know that we're actually digging into MAC addresses on the router, because what if that person says, I need to destroy my phone right now?
Yeah, or what if Kohberger had gone and trashed his Hyundai or the white car, or told, hey, Dad, we need to drive to Canada instead of, back home to Pennsylvania because I've done a bad thing.
Right. Because he doesn't know that they're looking for his car.
Yeah.
That's the thing that people overlooked on all of this. But
Well, yeah. And I think so. Thank you guys for joining. Let me see who is on. Shizzy, are you doing any more streams tonight? Are you
I don't know yet.
streamed out?
I might be streamed out. I mean, 3 in one day is quite a lot, so I'll see. I don't know.
Hey, better than Meatloaf. Which is 2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. No, I'll look and see if there's any updates on anything that I need to be covering. But other than that, I think I'm probably done for the night. But I think Megan and Tuck might be going on.
Well, it looks like Baker's on doing
Okay.
kind of a So the trial he's actually doing currently, and the one that will be my next for Petty Express, is apparently a mother who was alleged to have encouraged her son to take out the woman he alleged gave him the clap.
Oh, nice. I think that's going to be an interesting one. I would be sending them over to Baker, most definitely.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. So thank you guys for joining. As always, we
Thank you.
appreciate it. And
Love it.
remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because the internet exists.
It does. It does.
And if you've gone to my Walmart, so does cops,
Yeah. I missed that TV show.
but
That
not
was so much fun.
bras.
They don't have bras at Walmart?
Well, it's never the boobs you want to see, Shizzy.
Oh,
It's
I,
never a wife beater that can stand up to that test on gravity.
Fish keep trying to take your squirrel. It didn't work. Nice. They have a good one, Tanja.
So thank you guys so much, and I'll chat at you later. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.